Hello, my name is Anastasia and I'm 17 years old. This month, I had the opportunity to work at the Institut de Ciencias Materials de Barcelona, also known as ICMAB. Here, several research groups investigate following 5 main research lines related to materials. If you're interested in knowing more, visit the website, the link in the description. In this video, I'll show some experiences and knowledge I gained participating in the activities of an animal group. Welcome to the marvelous world of quatsomes.
Dear Diary, today was my first day at ICMAB. I can't believe it. It's so big and intricate. I'm sure I'll get lost one day and never be found. After presenting myself and going through millions of papers to make my stay official, David, my supervisor, showed me the laboratory where I'll be working and other places that are in this labyrinth/research building. Also, I was introduced to the extraordinary concept of nanovesicles and a special type of them, quatsomes. If you divide a millimeter into 1 million pieces, each of those is a nanometer. To put it into perspective, an average human is 1,650,000,000 nanometers. Now imagine a spherical particle with a double layer and a diameter of about 100 nanometers. That is a nanovesicle. Of course, not all nanovesicles are like that. Nanovesicles that contain lipids, like oils and fats, are classified based on their size and membrane, although the most popular ones in biomedicine are SUBs, small unilamellar vesicles. Quatsomes are a type of SUBs composed of a sterol, like cholesterol, and quaternary ammonium surfactants, such as CTAB, a type of substance also found in detergents. So what happens when we bring these two together? They are instantly drawn to each other and form a unit which simultaneously forms a bilayer and, can you guess it, a quatsome. Dear Diary, these 2 days all I thought, ate and breathed was quatsomes. Thanks to David's explanation that the papers I read, I discovered not only what are quatsomes and other types of nanovesicles, but also their characteristics, how they are produced, their possible application, etc. I spent a lot of time in the huge soft materials lab, which interestingly is not even in the ICMAB building, but in another one. I had never been to a place like this lab, with countless and expensive machines and things that if used incorrectly could be dangerous. But what really amazed me was seeing the quatsomes being produced by David using this process called DLSUSP. It was a lot to take in, and I hope we will be able to do it in a few days, alone. To form quatsomes you need cold. But what would happen if you left a sample in a freezer? The cold wouldn't distribute evenly, and that is important to make all the quatsomes similar. So what if instead we use supercritical CO2? What's that? Up to a certain temperature and pressure, the CO2 will behave like a hybrid of its liquid and gaseous form. This enables the CO2 to dissolve in our sample and when lower the pressure to evaporate and release heat, cooling the sample. DLSUSP, which stands for all of that, quite a name, is a sustainable one-step and amazing procedure for nanovesicles preparation. Just look at some advantages and disadvantages compared to other methods. DLSUSP can produce homogeneous vesicles in terms of shape and size, which are stable for up to several years in some cases. Dear Diary, today we had 2 interesting talks about technology transfer and project management. I learned that science is not as easy as making a great discovery and retiring after winning the Nobel Prize. There is a long and almost painful process in order to make sure a new useful discovery is released to the market. In this process, several things have to be taken into account: budget, planning, reports of progress. It's good that project managers exist. Dear Diary, starting this new week, I was introduced to the first project I will participate in and met Laia, a cool scientist who described it to me. David explained and made a DLSUSP demonstration for both of us, and this time I made notes in order to create my own protocol. Finally, I was told how to do a pipette course. MicroRNAs have an important role in many diseases, and that's why they are investigated for therapeutical uses. But they have some big problems. They are unstable in blood and they barely can enter cells. So how could we protect and deliver these microRNAs? With quatsomes. A study developed quatsomes containing modified cholesterol which control the microRNA's delivery with changes in the pH, the measure of the acidity of a medium. These new quatsomes are small, stable more than 6 weeks, and most impressive, have been targeted to bring the mRNAs into neuroblastoma tumor cells. Dear diary, these days I learned how to use the zetasizer and measure the size of nanovesicles with it. Congratulations, you have a sample of quatsomes, but how can you measure it? Although there are several methods and devices, one example available in the ICMAB is the magnificent zetasizer Nano ZS, which uses the dynamic light scattering methods to measure size and zeta potential, which is the surface chase of particles. Let me explain. A laser beam passes through a cuvette with the sample. The quatsomes, for instance, scatter the light differently but depending on its properties. The zetasizer receives the scatterings through detectors and then, using mathematical equations, gives us this or this for size. To sum up, where is the mountain tells us the size range of the particles. If there's two mountains, there are two main populations. And if this line isn't flat, then there is something big and nasty in a sample. Also, this number tells us the homogeneity of a system, and if it's below 0.3, then you're good. Dear diary, I'm sorry I didn't tell you earlier, but this week I made my first telescopes balloon. I never thought I would be that proud of making things I can't even see. Dear diary, today was a very fun day. Pau, Blay and I, later joined by Pablo, explored the facilities of ICMAB and MatGas and visited places where researchers explained to us what different devices are for. Liquid nitrogen, electronic microscopes, laboratories with extremely clean air, X-ray diffraction, all followed by a shockingly complicated activity to understand better the world of scientific divulgation. Dear diary, in the ICMAB, going to see a doctoral thesis is like going to the cinema, and today I understood why. I went to see Lydia Valet's thesis, which I found very interesting. Sadly, I missed the last part when everyone eats food, though it is still an experience I will never forget. Dear diary, it is my last week in the ICMAB and I'm a little bit sad. I'll spend my last days helping David with a project explained to us by Lydia Ferrer. Yes, also a great researcher. When a new potential nanomedicine is discovered in the lab, there is a very long process in order to commercialize it. Though a joy at first, when reaching certain steps of the process, lots of nanomedicine get stuck and never reach the endpoint. The Phoenix project, formed by 12 international partners, unifies different research groups and facilities and aims to make the path from the lab discovery to more advanced stages easier. To do so, they need to prove the efficacy of the project. This will be done with 5 demo cases, one of these involving our precious quatsomes. In this case, quatsomes are used in a formulation for skin microbial infection delivered topically.
I can't describe how grateful I feel for discovering and being part of this whole new world in ICMAB. I learned a lot of things that will forever remain in my memory. I hope you liked this video and it helped you a little bit to learn about the world of quatsomes.